It's funny because I got I got going on this episode and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a short episode. Ha ha ha. No, it's pretty much just like all the other ones because I get going and I I end up just kind of like going off on these little tangents and little stories, and next thing you know, it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, so oh well. I'm sure it'll be a lot quicker if you're playing at a faster speed, which I comment on. That is my natural self. What you get on this show is 1000% Terry Peppy. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get some Terry Peppy. It's taken me a long time to sit in front of a microphone and a video camera and be natural Terry with all my foibles and age and goofiness. And as one of my clients say, I'm categorizing your different laughs because apparently I have all these different laughs. I really think that solopreneurs are so fortunate that we have the opportunity to be our natural selves in an age of technology where it's moving faster than we can keep up with AI, etc. The more human we can be, the more real we can be, the more we can infuse our natural selves into what we're doing, the more pleasant the experience is going to be for our clients and our audience, don't you think? I mean, if I was like all stuffy and like, this is how you should do a website, and this is what your business should look like, and here's how you should sell, and la 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 la. Yeah, it just doesn't even feel like me. When I can be myself, I'm enjoying what I do more. I'm not trying to put on airs or be a fake person or overdo it. And I just enjoy being real with people. And so in this episode, that's pretty much what I talk about, is how you can really supercharge your engagement, enjoy what you're doing that much more by allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to be yourself and discovering what that really is. Because many of us in business, we kind of turn on the business light and turn off the personal light, and then we're just all business. It's kind of like, what was that one thing where they were like getting a haircut where it's, I don't know if it's a mullet or whatever the style is, but it's like, yeah, I want all business in the front and party in the back. I don't know why I just thought of that, but that's my natural self. But when you kind of have that on and off experience, it kind of jolts your inner self in a way, because you're really not being your true self. You're being all polished and professional or salesy or marketing-y or whatever it is. And when you really just kind of say, you know what, people want the real me 24/7, there we go. Not a problem. We can bring that to the forefront. Being your natural self allows you to relax, have fun, bring your clients along for the journey, and just making it a fun ride. So this episode is kind of all over the place, but that's how my thought bubbles work. I hope you enjoy it, and definitely do the prompt. It's a really good prompt on this one. All right, see you in the episode. Welcome to My Solopreneur Life. I'm Terry Pappy, your gracious host, and I am so glad you're here. I have a wonderful episode for you. Sit back, relax, and let's have some real talk about what it is to be a solopreneur. I cannot emphasize enough how lucky we are as solopreneurs to really be our most natural selves. And the reason why I wanted to point this out in this particular episode is I want you to benefit from my years of doing this. And why I want to talk about this is because as solopreneurs, we are the center actor on the stage. We can command the full audience's attention. We control the narrative, and we can also sway minds and hearts with content that we share, things that we create, and what we talk about. I know that's kind of like a big thing in a big cloud, but what I want to share with you is how I have evolved in my business from the standpoint of my personality and my voice and being true to myself, my most natural self. In the beginning, when I first started my business, everything was about what I did. So it was all about designing websites, making logos a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And that was all well and good because I was standing behind my work. I'd had a lot of experience in the corporate world, doing a lot of different things from design to strategy to building websites and doing this actual work, this tactical, hands-on technical work. And I really enjoyed it. I was very interested in it. But when I got laid off and started my own business, I felt like I had to work extra hard to prove my value, to prove my knowledge and experience that I could actually do a great job for the clients that were slowly coming on to work with Terry Pappy Creative Services, which is what I kind of hung my shingle on in the beginning. And, looking back almost 20 years now, wow, I can really sense the difference and the evolution of my personality, mainly my confidence in being able to speak a truth, be my natural self. And boy, is it on full display in this show, in this podcast. I mean, I don't really rehearse anything. I just get in front of the microphone and on video and I just start talking because I want you to see how much more appealing, at least I hope it's appealing, how much more appealing it is to be the real you versus, the beating your chest, I'm so great, or beating your chest and saying, my solutions or services are better than anybody else's, and here's why. And when it's so easy to do marketing in any way you want, when you're trying to attract an audience, get people to lean into what you're about, what you're a stand for, and what services you provide as a solopreneur, it's easy to kind of get caught up in that story of the product or the service or the problem you solve and all that, the kind of the mechanics of it. But I'm here to tell you that for you to also be, and even more so in the age of AI, which is what we're really confronted with these days, it's really important for you to be a human being, to be yourself, to showcase your true personality, to tell your story, to share your journey. Obviously, you have to do it in a balance. You can't be all me, kind of like this first season of my solopreneur life is all about dairy. But as you know, I'm trying to fulfill a purpose here of sharing my journey. When you are balancing your personality, your story, your journey, your history, your foibles, your authenticity, your humor, all of those things balance out your business and your services. Because as solopreneurs, it's an intimate relationship that we're in from the standpoint of working one-on-one with our clients. And so most of my clients, I work primarily with just one person. It's typically the business owner. That's usually where I can bring my best value and help them get the best results because they're the ultimate decision maker. They're the ones that work closely with me to set and create the vision so it gets them the results that they're looking for in the time frame that they need it. That makes it incredibly valuable for them and for me because I can learn so much about who they are, what they do, and what they're really trying to accomplish by bringing me in to help them. I guess the best advice I could give you is try it out. And it's really about you taking the chance on being more your natural self. Even though I consider myself an introvert, I think I have extroverted type of personality because I'm not afraid to approach some perfect stranger, approach somebody in the grocery store or out on the road. I'll roll down my window and say, "Hey bro, I like that song you're playing on your stereo. What is that?" I literally will go up to strangers and just start a conversation. Ever since I was young, I've always had this tendency to want to make people laugh, be a storyteller, use my creative talents like cartooning and things like that to put a smile on people's faces. And I always got the best payoff out of being that person. Even when I'm working with a client, I will joke around, have a good time, make light of their worry because it's needless and it doesn't promote anything. So I offer them, well, here's a different way to look at it. And well, what if that happened? And it wouldn't be so bad after all, would it? So when I take that personality and I just kind of let it all hang out, I just put it out there. And this is my personality. I'm kind of like all over the place sometimes. When I look at how much joy I get from inspiring people, from lightening their load, that's probably the top of my list as far as the payoffs I get when I am my most natural self. And I've created so much content that addresses that. Like there was this one time when I started kind of downloading this in my brain, almost like a, out of body experience where I just write all this copy where I was like having a conversation, almost like a spiritual mentor. And I'd write this conversation like about confidence or about getting things done, being productive, not being stressed out, all the things that solopreneurs typically deal with on a pretty regular basis, from overwhelm and stress to worries about money, getting more clients, all of those kind of more chronic concerns that affect solopreneurs. And I'll be helping you navigate all that stuff. But I would like to sit there and get really present to what that emotion is, how it was landing on that person, borrowing from my own experience of having those challenges in the past. And I just wrote this stuff like I was giving them this incredible pep talk. And what I ended up doing was magnets. That was back when I was doing the Confident Entrepreneur series. And I called them Confident Entrepreneur Magnets. And it was like, see it, believe it, live it, or something like that was my little tagline. They're on YouTube, by the way. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can find them on there. They have their own playlist. I think I only did like 5. And it's just text on a screen with really nice music. But that text on the screen is what my spiritual download was. Like, this is what that person needs to hear. It's not really affirmations, but it's just making them look at it in a more positive focus. Some of them were kind of businessy. Like I think one was about logo design. It's like, how do you help someone with a bad attitude about their logo, or who gets kind of wrapped around the axle around their logo? I remember years ago when people would come to me for logo design, or it was part of building their website, and they would spend so much time on thinking about their logo and like saying, oh, I like this one, I want it to look this way or whatever. And I was like, please, come on. Let's just get it done, because it's such a small part, an important part, don't get me wrong, but a small part of what the bigger picture is of what we're trying to accomplish. And just as a little sidebar, my first job out of college was setting type. I love typography. And whenever I design a logo, and this is probably 95% of all the logos I've ever designed, more so higher in that percentage range more recently versus when I first started doing logos. I was kind of succumbing to my clients like, oh, make it have a flower or do this kind of swirly thing. And I like the Nike swoosh. Can you work that in? I was like, oh my God. That was happening like right as I was starting. And I'm like, please, people, get off the Nike swoosh. But anyway, I love typography, and every logo I design, and I tell my clients ahead of time, I'm like, just so you know, I design text-based logos. In other words, I don't do all these weird designs or try to be cutesy or whatever. You can go somewhere else to get a logo like that, but the reason why I primarily focus on text-based, very professional, easy to read, sophisticated fonts. Obviously, the font has to align with the brand that we're creating for my client, but it has incredible shelf life. When you have a logo that's all graphic-y and stuff, it gets dated really fast. In many cases, right? That's kind of a sweeping statement, but in many cases it becomes very dated. And even sometimes font choices can make your logo very dated. So I pride myself on that type of approach with logos. So throughout the years, I've been pulling in more of my natural self, pulling in more of my preferences, my style on how I design, where I place my focus, which today has evolved to the point where it's about my client's vision. It's about how they relate to and serve their customers. That's probably the most important thing. And how can we communicate and tie it all together so the customer, the prospect, understands what my client's business is about and how they can help. So for me, it's clarity, personality, and a promise that the experience is going to be the best. Whereas back in my early days, I was more reliant upon the technical and the tactical deliverables, the website, the logo, all that stuff. Today, it's completely opposite. It's around the things that really matter, which is all about relationships. When you can be your most natural self in your business, not only is there less stress, but there's more connection to your inner guidance. You're going to think this is weird, but it's like when you're allowing yourself to be yourself and not trying to put up a front or shore up your insecurities around a particular topic or competitiveness or whatever is driving some of that triggery type of behavior or communications, it's really much more comfortable place to be because you're being your natural self. So if there's something that a client is asking you for and you know it's not going to serve them, it's okay to say why you think it won't serve them. Make sure you're being polite about it, obviously, but tell them why. Why do you feel that that's the case? Maybe you should go ahead and let them try it anyway. So the invitation is really for you to look at how you interact with your clients. How does the day go? How much are you really being yourself? And the first place you can look at this is in your social media posts. What kind of voice do you have in social media? Are you pushing your solution? Are you promoting your approach? Are you talking a lot about the problems that people typically have in solving the problem that you solve? Or are you getting it out of the stands and onto the court and talking about things through your narrative, through your experience, and infusing emotion? Like, what is your takeaway? How do you feel about it? Express empathy. Show where you've maybe made a mistake and talk about it. So I think this is like the new era of authenticity. People have been talking about authenticity and we're transparent, we're being authentic, but they're really not. And you can tell. I mean, people have very astute BS detectors, and they will be able to tell if you're putting one on them or if you're really being your natural self. So the more that you can be your natural self, and I'm living this today. Like when I started, about a year or two ago, kind of really getting into, and you know me, I don't like self-promotion. It's not comfortable for me. I still like offering value and talking about my trade and what I do and offering suggestions and inspiration. But it's when I share my personal experience and infuse my inspiration or my tip in that context, I get so much more positive engagement as a result because people really sense that that's me. It's not AI generated. It's not some virtual assistant who's posting for me or some generator or whatever. That's me typing and sharing from my heart. And it feels so good to express myself that way. It's almost like when I post something, in particular on LinkedIn, that's where I probably post the most of this type of content that I'm talking about. I really feel like I'm speaking to an audience. Like I know who I'm talking to, and I want to inspire, I want to uplift, I want to provide relief. Like things aren't so bad. You're doing okay. Keep going. You'll get it right. And if you've been listening to me or reading my stuff, you get that that's really who I am. And believe me, over the years that I've been in business for myself, it's really like kind of settled in my gut being that person. And sometimes, I don't know if it's because I'm as old as I am and that I've had as much experience. Life has rode me pretty hard there for a while. And I'm at the point now where I just don't care about people judging me. And what's interesting about that, because I don't care about it, like it's not that I'm trying to be nonchalant or dismissive, but I'm just not letting that into my space or acknowledging the possibility that that could happen. Because obviously social media, there's all kinds of voices that will contribute to what you're posting and what you're sharing out there. So you're always exposing yourself to that risk. But I think if you have the attitude where it doesn't matter, that you're there on a bigger mission, that's kind of how I feel. Like I've got a bigger mission, and because of the fulfillment that I achieve out of the content that I've been posting and what I write in my blog, my newsletter, and everything I put on this particular show that you get to listen to. So let me leave you with this prompt. What I want to share with you is take a look at your social media and really give yourself a good assessment, or ask someone who knows you really well, like your BFF or a spouse, someone who's very close to you, who knows your personality and you feel very natural being yourself with. Have them look at some of your posts or the content that you're putting out there, whether you have your own show or you're doing a newsletter and you're sending out articles. Have them read what you've been posting and then ask them, do you feel that's being authentically me? Is there a way I can infuse more of my personality or style or authentic vulnerability into the content I'm putting there? Would it be helpful? Or does it sound like every other solopreneur out there trying to hawk the same types of services or products that I'm trying to sell? And listen to what they have to say, because they'll be really good mirrors for you. And do it for yourself. Look through and say, does that really sound like me? Does it feel like I'm being my truest self? And then here's the best part of this prompt. What I'd like for you to do, based on obviously kind of what you're getting as far as feedback from those that know you, as well as your own kind of assessment of your content, I want you to sit down and either write or record on video an incredibly vulnerable, authentic, just like bare your soul to your ideal audience, and use like different types of context, like do it in the context of what your ideal client is frustrated with, and relate that story to something you've been frustrated with, and just pour your heart out. You're not going to do anything with this other than record it or write it, and then just stick it away for a day, then come back and watch it or read it. If you do it right, like if you really pour your heart out, if you really put your natural self into it, whether that's humor, whether that's evocative emotion, whether that's telling a traumatic story, whatever's there, whatever's come up, just let it come up and share it. And see how you feel differently between that kind of like open heart post or content versus how you've been posting or sharing content. See if there's sort of an equilibrium that you could reach, and then start infusing that into your content. And once you start doing that and publishing it, just watch your engagement go up. Watch how people are suddenly turning their heads and going, wow, I never looked at it that way, or that really made my day. Like I was having a bad day and I just read that and it just blew my mind and I feel so much better about my situation. For me, that's what I do. Being my natural self enables me to fulfill on one of my top 3 credo. Remember from another episode, my credo, 3 things. 1, freedom. Got to have freedom no matter what I do. Number 2 is the ability to create and be creative. And number 3, which is what is driving this particular episode theme, is the ability to inspire others to their awesomeness. And I do that by being myself, my most natural self. I don't know how much more natural I could be, honestly. But with the sole purpose of inspiring, alleviating stress, providing relief, and just making people feel more connected. So I hope that was helpful for you. And I'd love to see your content start to shift more toward your natural self. Well, I know you're disappointed, but that's it for this episode. Listen, the great news is there's another one coming, so stay tuned. Anyway, I just want to make sure that you do the prompt if this episode had a prompt and you get that homework done because you're going to be a better solopreneur. How's that for a maternal finger shaking at you? Hey, listen, thanks so much for being here, for giving me time of your day, and, for taking it on. So if you want to learn more and stay connected with me, just head on over to mysolopreneurlife.com. Thanks a bunch. See you soon. That was pretty good. I think I'll keep that one.